I just wanted to do a quick boot review on a couple boots that I got. Mainly doing a lot of walking around, patrols, things like that, some tactical training, things of that sort. My old go-to that I've been wearing for years has been 511. Don't hold the condition of this boot in any regards to the quality. It's 511 I've had for a couple of years. This thing has been through the ringer with me. Very well designed, very well made boot. Real happy with it. I have definitely done a number on it. But these are very lightweight. This is the Taclite, as they're called. Breathes very well. At one point it held a nice shine on the toe. As far as a show boot for, say, an officer on patrol, maybe not so much. Very comfortable though. You can get a good shine to it. One of the problems with the newer style boots, they take a lot of tennis shoe cues for comfort, performance, and one of the downsides to that is you have all these vinyl sections in them, things like that for breathability. If you get some dirt in there or something, it's real hard to get off. You can't just polish them, especially inside here in the laces. It's very hard to get in there without pulling your laces off to get a good shine on them. But for tactical training, things like that, very, very usable. Good tread. I've worn these down quite a bit. Every one of those specks you see on the bottom is goat heads, very prominent in this area. Good heel support in here, comes in a little bit, holds my foot in place real nice. Does have a side zipper, but one of the problems I found with this boot is it's very deep in the heel, which is good for comfort, but I absolutely cannot put my foot in there, tie it up to the tension that I like, unzip it, and just pull my foot out. Definitely doesn't happen with these. One of the problems that comes with that, this is my third pair of laces on here, and it's got a lot of tension in there. It rips the laces up pretty good, but it does breathe very well. Very functional boot. It's got some good side support. You know, it holds the side of your foot up. Very comfortable boot, especially for a desert environment like I live in. Here recently, I just got a pair of Blauer boots. This is the Blitz model. Supposed to be their waterproof versions. Of course, definitely not waterproof up to this point here, where the tongue separates. You have a nice large opening in there to get your foot in, and of course the big key selling point to these is the BOA laces. Just snap it in, and bring the tension up. It's got a high tensile steel cable that runs through it. Definitely very, very nice design in the laces for a couple reasons. One, you don't get any pinch points. You don't get a too tight down here and then too loose up here. It's all pretty much one tension. A downside to that, as I'm walking around, I find there is a little bit of squeaking as you walk and the tension changes a little bit. So I do get a little bit of noise in there, combined with the fact that this rubber on the sole is extremely hard. It's a very strong rubber. Makes it kind of a loud boot when I'm walking around. Now it looks like two separate types of rubber. You've got the sole, the tread portion is a darker, harder rubber, and then the under portion is a little bit softer rubber. Now unfortunately, these are only a few weeks old. You can already tell, just walking into a couple things, there's no protection on the side whatsoever. So it's kind of peeling off there a little bit. It does have a nice little bit of toe on the front. I kind of wish, especially for tactical boots, I would like to see a little bit more rubber coming up just for protection of the boot, especially if you're going prone, shooting, things like that, doing training, defensive tactics. It's very easy to scuff this up and kind of make it, look a little non-presentable. But, otherwise, I mean, if you're going to have a show boot kind of thing, if you're on patrol, you're trying to, have a good image going on, definitely, I mean, it's not too much. It's going to protect it from the occasional scuff there. But that does bring me to some of the problems with this I see. One, if you look at the back of that, there's not much. That's almost straight right there. There's not much to encapsulate the heel. It's got some bend in there, but I find my heel moving a lot inside the boot, which is a little uncomfortable doing a lot of walking. I also find that the material on the side is so soft. I mean, there's nothing reinforcing the edge. So I find a lot of times in my current job I walk quite a bit. Some strange terrains, dirt, things like that, grass that's pitted, and I find my foot moving around a lot. I also have some heavy stuff I got to push, and I find my foot shifting quite a bit as I push things with some degree of force. So it doesn't really hold the foot in place very well. And it also, as far as a show boot, or looking good in a uniform, if you don't blouse your pants and you got your shoe coming down, when you put your foot in, it kind of squishes out a little bit. And I kind of feel like I'm looking at my stepfather's orthopedic shoes when I look down. One of the other problems with it is when you look down, you don't really see tread. The tread is very small. It doesn't come out at all, much from your foot, especially when it squishes down. So your footprint isn't really all that big, so you don't get that stable platform that I really like in a boot. I kind of got that in the 511s. But aside from that, the only real thing with this, the issue I have, is it's not even marketed as a winter wear boot, but I did get it because I thought it would be a little bit warmer than their Clash boot. But warm is one thing. Yes, it's a waterproof boot, but they also advertise it as being breathable, allowing for moisture, precipitation, or perspiration to escape. I was in, I believe, the low teens, 12, 14 degrees, and I got home, my foot was pruny. That's kind of a sign. When it's in the low teens, your foot should not be sweaty in a boot, even a winter boot. But so it doesn't breathe pretty much at all. But otherwise, I really love this system because I don't like tying laces. I don't like old laces showing. So that's a really great design. If I could put this system on a different boot, I'd probably find it more comfortable. A lot of people said they find them very comfortable. They just maybe don't fit my personal foot very well. I will also say there's quite a break-in period on these. The second day I wore these at work, I had to work a double, 2 shifts back to back. When I got home, I could barely walk. I took my boots off. My son looked at my feet and asked me if Daddy needed Band-Aids. Quite a bit of redness, very painful. They've broken in now. I've kind of relegated these to my off-duty wear boots, that sort of thing. Like I said, the sole being very hard on them, that's one of my issues with this particular boot, is that it's just not comfortable for constant walking for me. It's just very hard, especially in the environment I am in. I'm constantly putting weight on the ball of my foot, reactionary, shifting the weight, that sort of thing, and it's just not much padding at all. I've tried some different pads in there, and they help a little bit, but just overall, not as comfortable as I'd like them to be. They're not as showy as I would like them to be. There's no real bells and whistles to it. It's a very simple boot. I will say they talk about having a rounded heel for long periods of driving and for law enforcement. Yeah, it's got a rounded heel, but honestly, so does everyone else. One thing I will say is really neat on these, they've got this tread in the front that is advertised as for chain link fence. And I will say I actually tried it out, and that works. Very grippy. I'd like to see a lot more law enforcement style boots incorporate this tread in the front. Really did help. My feet really had a good anchor in the chain link. But I would hope I wouldn't be chasing anyone in these. I'd be hurting later on. But definitely the BOA system, very nice, really like that. That's by Blauer. I believe these were about $150 once all was said and done. Not a bad price. The 511s I think were $130. That's the general price range for a decent tactical boot out there. I just got these by Bates. They were a gift once my family saw how bad my feet were with the Blauers. Pair of Bates boots. They're also a side zip, YKK zipper, just like the 511s. They come with a real nice high gloss shine to them already. Very, very good looking boot, especially on a patrol. Go good with a uniform. The laces, don't come down too far, so you got your pivot point right here, so it's not obtrusive with that. It has a little bit of a rubber lip on the front. It's got actually a little bit of tread on there. A little bit right here, so it's got a nice design to the tread. They put a big emphasis on the outside of the tread. This is one thing I really love. It gives it a nice stable platform when you're standing. You can actually, when you look down at your boot, you can actually see the tread protruding on the sides from above the boot. I really like that. Very, very stable platform. The design of the fabric in it, it's a nice large piece of fabric, all one piece. So for cleaning this, it's very easy to get a brush in there and clean that area. Unlike the Blauer, which kind of has smaller pieces, couple of, and especially the 511, which has the little tiny spots all over. This is a lot easier to clean this area, keep it nice, respectable looking in a uniform. It's got a nice rubber backing that gives really good heel support right here. It actually goes around your heel. I really find that my heel in here, it's a nice pocket, conforms to it very well. Once again, it's got some traction back here. The nice thing about the rubber on the front and the back, it keeps the boot from getting messed up. The rubber aesthetically can take a lot more punishment than the leather. The leather will gouge and look awful, and that really does help. But the tread, like I say, the inner portion here works very well when you're walking on grass, things like that. It's got a nice arch in here. That also really helps when you're moving around. Very, very happy with that. Unlike the 511s, I do find that I can tie these and then just use the zipper. One problem I do have with it though is it's got a tiny tongue in here. Let me show you here. Because this part is sealed. This is a winter grade boot, but the tongue is just this little chunk right here. That's all the tongue is. Kind of goes down a little bit, but it's very tight in there. And there's no really, if you blouse your boots, nowhere to really put the laces. I kind of shove it in there, but if you go too far, it creates a little bit of a pinch point against your foot, right where your ankle is. It'd be kind of nice if one of the boot companies could come up with somewhere to put this, or basically I would love it if this boot had the chain link fence tread on the front and the BOA system just on this boot. I would really love that. Be nice if some other companies switched to the BOAs, but once again, this has excellent padding. There's a material inside that is very smooth, but feels like very strong material, so I don't feel like it's going to wear that out putting my foot in and out. I will say, trying to pull my foot out with the zipper open, it is a little bit tight pulling it out, but this is still going through a little bit of a break-in. But you don't want it too loose. But I can definitely get my foot in and out in a decent amount of time. But overall, and this has very strong reinforcement on the sides here, so you don't feel like your foot is moving around and shifting. Very happy with that aspect of the boot. Now this one, I believe, sells for around $170, $180. So I mean, for more money, you're getting a better boot, but definitely worth it. I feel if you're gonna spend money on anything, your feet, your hands, and your eyes, you want to protect those. Especially your feet and your hands, they're constantly coming into contact with things, people, substances, items, and you want to take care of that. You want to get something good on there. Now these, I have no doubt, will last me a good amount of time. Previously, wearing the 511s, I was a little hard on them, but I averaged, maybe a year and a half of use before they started looking like this. And I mean, that's not bad. For a good boot, $130 is the typical price point for a decent tactical boot. But honestly, I think after wearing this, I'll probably be a Bates customer for quite some time. Very happy with it. It's Gore-Tex, top-notch construction, design, ergonomics. The Blauers, I was looking forward to these for a long time. I was on their mailing list waiting on them. Really was excited about it. And I gotta say, it's not bad for their first run out on the market with these, but I really hope the company takes a little bit of criticism and kind of does a little redesign on it for their second generation of the boot. But I mean, definitely not a bad first run entry. But just, there are a few things they definitely could work on. The side support, the overall look of the boot, widening the stance on it, a little bit better heel encapsulation, a little padding or something in there would be really nice. The break-in period on them, I really don't view that as a problem with a boot. Anybody that's had a good leather boot knows it takes a little time to break it in. If it's too broken already, it's too soft, it won't last. But a good leather for something that you're going to be putting these through, I really like something a little stiff that's going to conform to my foot. But I just, like I say, aesthetically, my foot squishes in them. Just not that thrilled with the look. But the BOA system and that tread, definitely top-notch ideas. Now 511, they've got a lot of different designs. They really listen to the tack community. They put things in there like on some of their boots they got the nubs on the side for fast roping. Some people kind of scoff at that, but then there's other people that go, wow, that really helps me. That suits my need. Now they took that idea because probably somebody suggested it. It's a great point that they listen. Their boots are definitely more of a tennis shoe feel, which is really nice. You're going to be doing a lot of running, physical things, walking around. That really does make a difference. It's nice to see law enforcement communities going away from the old patent leather shoes that are uncomfortable to something that is functional. And these are definitely very functional, especially for the price. But I gotta say, the Bates, hands down, they've got me as a customer. But for anybody wanting to try out the Blauers, I recommend you go try them. I mean, see how they look on you, see how they feel. Now this is the Blitz model. It is the waterproof model. They have another one. I cannot remember the name off the top of my head. The Clash. That's what it was. The Clash, which is their more of a summer boot. It has a slightly different design on it. It might fit differently. That wouldn't be a bad idea to try those out. So, just to give you an idea what I think of them. Best idea is always to go in and try them on. If you can find some place that sells them. These were a local buy, pseudo-local, about an hour away. But the two of these I had to order on the internet. We have no place around here that sells them. But definitely the Bates, if you want to spend the money for a really good boot, feels like it'll last a good long time. Got a nice shine to it, right out of the box. Be a great choice for law enforcement. The Clash, the Blitz from Blauer, maybe for a personal boot, but I couldn't imagine working another 2 shifts in these with as hard as the sole is. Driving a vehicle in these, it really deadens the pedal feel. It's just it's not really that tennis shoe design. The 511, if you don't need a boot that's going to last all that long, you have a uniform allowance and you actually use it, if you're going to buy one every year, it'd be a great option. So, thanks for watching.